Hey there. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is not Donald Trump, but in some ways that are a little bit terrifying, but also a little bit exciting, she is very much like Donald Trump. Let me explain. Back in late November of 2016, I found myself sitting around a table with a bunch of traditional elite Republican types. They were generally top 10%ers who vote based on tax cuts. Now, none of these people liked Donald Trump, of course. They were what we like to call anti-Trump. Appropriately disgusted by Trump, but so lost in their traditional fear of Democrats and hatred of Hillary Clinton that they were happy to see him win. Back in 2016, there was a lot of smugness around that table and some excitement about what a fully Republican-controlled government could do for rich folks. I thought they were nuts. Donald Trump is disgusting, of course, but what I was more worried about was what he represented. Trump and the way that he took power were both very, very new. Obama had shades of it, but at the end of the day, he was still mostly just a traditional politician. Donald Trump and his path to power were revolutionary, and those rich folks I was having dinner with should have been terrified, not of Trump, but of those who will come after Trump. It is going to be very, very difficult to fix what Trump has broken. Politics is supposed to be boring. Elections and some of the issues can be exciting, of course, depending on the decade, but politics have usually been fairly predictable. Standard political drone types work their way through the system according to a vague hierarchy and old-fashioned pretensions of public service. Every new candidate pitches themselves as new and dynamic, even though they are very much products of the system. Obama was the most recent example of this, but we see variations of it every election. This orderly system was cozy, and it ensured that the folks who end up running it don't change much that's important. Trump is something completely different. Media has always been an important part of the system. Newspapers and TV could drive what people talked about to some degree, but when it came to picking and choosing our leaders, up until 2016, it was the political parties that mattered. Donald Trump was not picked by his party, nor was Ocasio-Cortez. Folks like to blame Facebook and Twitter for Trump's success, but I don't think this is entirely fair. New media definitely played a role, but I think it was middle-aged media, that cable news channels, that are much more to blame. And actually, it's a representative of At Death's Door media, NBC, that is probably the most to blame for this nightmare. Without the completely fictional character of a competent, intelligent Donald Trump created on NBC's The Apprentice, I really don't think we would be here. But nonetheless, here is where we are. The Republican Party is irretrievably broken, and the Democratic Party isn't in much better shape. Those smug Republicans who thought they had at least elected a businessman lost a ton of money on the stock market last year, and worse is on its way. All those norms and structures that used to defend the system and the top 10% are in tatters. And after the abject failure of our first pop culture president from the right, the country is now likely to get its first pop culture president from the left. That's the thing I wanted to tell those Republicans back at that dinner in 2016. By ripping off the guardrails for a right-wing president, they were leaving themselves defenseless against a left-wing president in the future. Now, despite my loathing of Donald Trump and my anger at the United States' insanely expensive and useless foreign policy since the Cold War, and our anti-freedom criminal justice system, and the Republican Party's destruction of our public finances over the past 40 years, I still consider myself a conservative. So I am not looking forward to a left-wing President Trump. But now, strangely, I'm a little less worried because of the career of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. In some ways, the Ocasio-Cortez phenomenon is very similar to the whole Trump thing. She came to power by knocking one of the most powerful Democrats out of one of the safest Democratic seats in Congress. She is also playing the media like a fiddle, though unlike Trump, she actually is a product of new media like Instagram. She is now almost certainly the best-known member of Congress, and maybe even the best-known member of U.S. government at any level, other than Donald Trump. At this point, Ocasio-Cortez really is the Democratic response to Trump I was worried about. She is powerful, and she is using that power to advance a strongly left-wing agenda. So why am I, a conservative, not all that worried about and maybe even a bit reassured by Ocasio-Cortez? No, it's not the fact that she's an attractive woman who occasionally throws out Watchmen quotes, though, wow. What it is where she is exerting her power and the way she is going about it. Strangely, she could end up being one of the biggest defenders of the original interpretation of the Constitution that we have seen in decades. The old way of doing things had a long-term effect. Over the course of decades, the legislative branch, Congress, got weaker and weaker, and the executive branch, the one the president supposedly leads, got more and more powerful. According to the Constitution, Congress is supposed to be the branch that decides what we do. That hasn't been true for at least half a century. With each passing year, TV made the president more powerful, and suicidal actions by the Congress under people like Newt Gingrich made Congress weaker and dumber. A lot of what is screwed up about the United States right now comes from the fact that Congress is so at the mercy of presidents, on everything from wars to the budget. Being a senator is still kind of prestigious, but being in the House of Representatives is basically a crappy telemarketing job. It's very, very early, but as of now, it seems like Ocasio-Cortez could begin to change this. Already, over the past couple weeks, she has been driving the national conversation from the House of Representatives. And unlike President Cheeto, she's actually been starting conversations about things that really matter domestically. We haven't seen anything like this for decades. And what makes it even better is the fact that she's too young to run for president before 2024. The U.S. Congress actually matters again. That's amazing. Ocasio-Cortez could drop off the map tomorrow. The public is fickle. But she seems to only be gaining momentum, mostly by being willing to be more open and angry about the political process than most other legislators. If this continues, all her star power and all her agenda-setting ability will be acting to pump up the power of the U.S. Congress. That's extraordinary. So it turns out that the left-wing answer to Donald Trump may actually end up giving us a more powerful U.S. Congress and a government that works more closely to the way that the founders intended. That is not what I expected. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. And if you want a free essay on a completely different topic, I suggest you sign up for my email list at the link here. Thanks.